Welcome back to another episode of Decentralized Chain. It's Feroz, and in today's episode, we are going to be talking about DAO Maker and some of their recent news, which pretty much bolsters the fundamentals behind this launchpad, and I certainly feel will provide a positive appreciation in terms of market price. Now, before we do, if this is the first time you're here and you want to learn more about crypto, whether it's news, insights, or analysis to help you get that edge, start now by hitting the subscribe button below and the bell notification icon so you don't miss any of my upcoming episodes. Better still, why don't you come on over and join us in the Telegram community? Plenty of crypto enthusiasts from novices to pro traders. So no question is too big and definitely no question is too small to help you on that crypto journey. Now, for those who are not familiar, DAO Maker is a launchpad. They provide pretty much what most launchpads would provide. It is really an incubation platform. It is a community platform. It is a marketing platform. It is pretty much the technology platform for those who might be wanting to do their own white label platforms or staking mechanisms. And really, a lot of the projects that have launched on DAO Maker through their strongholder offering have given back what I would say some significant returns to investors. Let's take, for example, My Neighbor Alice. 318x return out the gate when it launched. And even now, even though we're still in a downturn market over the last few months, certainly Bitcoin has dropped way more than 50% of its all-time high. All of these projects that have launched on the DAO Maker platform are still performing very well in terms of current return on investment. My Neighbor Alice is still 33x up. Orion Protocol from last year is still up 58x. Open Predict token, which was one of the ones that launched a good few months back, right? 77 out the door, but still 7x up. So if you had the opportunity to get into these IDOs or strongholder offerings, as it's known by in the DAO Maker ecosystem, you would still be significantly up on your initial investment, which is always promising to see, because then at least you know that the projects that tend to launch on this given launchpad do have promising returns and pretty much have a success painting behind it. Now, what's got me really bullish recently, and why I feel that certainly here we have pretty much come to what I would feel is a bottom on the DAO Maker token itself, but the recent changes that they're bringing in terms of the DAO Maker Vaults, I think are going to have a significant impact in terms of price. It's geared that way. And so if we dig a bit deeper into this, what this is that there are 3 vaults being opened up, so to speak. You can lock up your DAO Maker tokens for 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, or your stablecoin tokens. And you might be thinking, well, why stablecoins? Well, what they're doing is that they're tapping into the DeFi and CeFi apps in the stablecoin space, right? By that, there's more than $20 billion locked in stablecoins. And the reason people lock those into yield farms is to generate yield from it. The idea is that you provide liquidity mining in the form of stablecoins or currency pairs, and you get rewarded back in cryptocurrencies for doing that. And this is where DAO Maker is leveraging in on that. They want to sort of leverage in on these stablecoin platforms. They want to be able to take some of that market share away, but also provide a way or an incentivization to the users of why you would want to ultimately deposit your stablecoins on the DAO Vaults. And this is why, because the way it works is, as I was saying before, you can lock up your stablecoins or your DAO Maker tokens for 3, 6, or 12 months. In return for locking these up, what you'll get is DAO Power tokens. Now, if you lock up stablecoins, you get less DAO Power tokens. If you lock up the DAO Maker tokens into these vaults, you get somewhere which is beyond 2x of what you've actually put in terms of tokens. And I'll tell you why that's quite beneficial overall. From that, what happens is that the stablecoins that are basically locked up, they're deployed into yield farms, right? And that's generating yield. Now, the yield that gets generated from these stablecoins at the end of the day is then used to buy back DAO Maker on the open market, okay? And there are a number of benefits that are incurred from that. Not only do you get back a portion of those tokens as part of the yield for ultimately locking up your stablecoins or your DAO Maker tokens, but also there's a burn and ecosystem incentive that's also running in parallel to that. And this is what happens, right? When you actually lock up into these vaults, what you're doing is, first of all, you're generating a constant demand for the DAO Maker tokens. What that means is that the stable coins that are deposited, the yield that's generated from that, a portion of that is used to buy back the DAO Maker tokens on the open market. And what happens when you buy tokens on the open market? What happens is that it pushes the price up, right? So you're increasing the demand for it. Okay, so that's one thing that's happening. The next thing that's happening also is there's a reduction in the DAO circulation. What that means is because you're locking up your DAO Maker tokens 3, 6, or 12 months, you're reducing the supply overall from what's available, right? And when you reduce the supply, it's a whole supply and demand scenario. And you also have upward price pressure, right? Because there's less of it to go around. So people are paying more to get hold of it. The other is reduction of the total supply of the DAO Maker tokens. If we recall back here, what happens is there's a burn mechanism that kicks in. And part of that stablecoin, or the yield that's generated from the stablecoins, is obviously used to buy back the open markets, buy back the tokens on the open market, but also a portion of that token is then burnt, right? So therefore you're reducing the supply physically, right? You're not locking it, it's gone. So once again, supply, demand, upward price pressure. The last bit here also is DAO token remains privileged in the ecosystem. What that means, and I've touched on it before, is yes, you can deposit stable coins and you get back a portion of DAO power tokens, okay? But if you deposit DAO Maker tokens into those vaults, you get back twice, if not more, in DAO power tokens, right? So there's a privilege of doing that as well. So you can see that it's working on both fronts. You're reducing supply, you're increasing the price. But the other part behind it is, you might be thinking, well, how do I get into the strongholder offerings? Well, that's the whole point. The DAO power tokens become the equivalent of you holding DAO Maker tokens. And so then you fall into the same allocation system as it has before, which is a lottery-based system. The more DAO power you have, the more of a chance you have of getting into one of these shoes. Now, the main thing is, and if we kind of sum this up, is if you compare the yield that you get back if you were to deposit it with Yearn.finance or Compound or Curve, right? In comparison, by looking at how past projects have performed, you'd still be 348% better off in terms of the actual yields you'll get back. And the reason behind that is, you know, you can go to Nexo. Look, if you go to Nexo and you deposit your stablecoins, you'll get 12% back, right? That's a guaranteed. Well, actually, you only get that 12% if you have a portion of your portfolio in Nexo tokens as well. Otherwise, you get a reduced amount. The same goes with Celsius, actually. They offer you these higher APYs, but you only get those if you actually fulfill certain criteria in order to get those yields. But either way, 10, 17, you got all of these. But actually, if you have a look here, in terms of you sitting on the DAO Maker tokens itself, they're generating what I would say is not passive income, but the price appreciation is going up. So if you were to sell, you're certainly going to get back a significant amount more. By also having the DAO power tokens, right, that gives you eligibility to be able to participate in these allocations, assuming that you are, you know, lucky enough to get through the lottery or get picked in the lottery. But even if you hit any one of these, you're still going to get back in terms of return significantly more than 10 or even 12 or 17%. So there's a positive in terms of all of it as to why you would want to do that. And that's why I genuinely feel that the way that these vaults have been structured, it's a win-win situation, whichever way you look at it. Hold on to the tokens, you basically get the upward price pressure. Lock the tokens in, and then you also get eligibility to be able to participate in the strongholder offerings. And obviously, if we look at these projects in the past, they've all performed significantly well. And even now, they are all still holding a decent amount of return on investment. You might be thinking, well, you know, 318, 293. Look, if you're playing this game at the end of the day, there's a couple of ways to play. You can believe in a project and you can hold on to it, knowing that long term, generally you're okay, that, you know, it will generate you a much better yield in terms of return on investment. Or if you kind of want to play the whole crypto game, you know, the idea is that they pump, you dump, and then you buy back what you fundamentally got rid of, and you basically have a moon bag for later on. So anyway, I just thought I'd quickly cover some of this news from DAO Maker because I thought it was pretty interesting the way it's all been set up, the gearing, the sort of economics behind it, and hence why am bullish in terms of the fundamentals of this project. And certainly once we start coming out of this downturn, projects that generally have strong fundamentals behind them do tend to jump quicker back to what I believe is a fair market value for it. Anyway, let me know if you enjoyed this content. Let me know what you think about this actual vault. Is this something that you'd be interested in participating in, or are you still more of, nope, I'm only going to be in stable coins and DeFi yield farms, etc. Anyway, if you like this type of content, definitely give it a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button below and the bell notification icon, and I will see you on the next episode.